joining us this morning. Merci tout le monde pour nous joindre aujourd'hui. My name is Jesse Travis, and I have been the interim leader of the NDP for the past few months. Today with me I'm joined by Mr. Stephen Bean, the party's treasurer, and Mr. Dominic Cardy. Steve Bean is also the party's chief electoral officer. Today I have the privilege of introducing the new leader of our party, Dominic Cardy. Mr. Cardy officially became the leader of the NDP yesterday after the nominations closed at 5 p.m. Mr. Cardy grew up in Fredericton and spent years working overseas, mostly in Asia, building democratic structures and political parties. Mr. Cardy returned to New Brunswick to manage the most recent provincial election campaign and drafted a pragmatic and fiscally responsible platform that helped double our party's support. I thank the party for the opportunity to serve, and I happily pass the leadership of the New Brunswick New Democratic Party to Mr. Dominic Cardy.
Thank you very much, Jesse, for doing such an excellent job as interim leader and holding down the fort in the party. It's much appreciated and handled the job with grace and diligence. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'd like to thank my campaign manager, Ms. Lindsay Delanty, my campaign chairman, Mr. David Brown, and my partner, Margot Craig, and to all my other supporters for being here today. I'm honored to accept the leadership of the New Brunswick New Democratic Party. Je suis très honoré d'accepter la direction du nouveau Parti démocratique du Nouveau-Brunswick. Because today we start to build this party, to change this province. I'd like to give special recognition to Susan Levi-Peters, who's here with us today, with her husband Fabian, who stood with me in this race as my running mate. And I look forward to the new position of deputy leader being entrenched in our party's constitution at our convention to be held later this year. Susan brings her experience as the first woman chief of the Elsipogtog First Nation and her voice as a respected leader, ready to speak with and for all New Brunswickers. Despite our different backgrounds, we are united in our politics. Susan comes from a long line of chiefs who have made this land their home for longer than history. I am the child of immigrants, traveling here on one of the last transatlantic liners, looking for a new home in a new world. But Susan and I, we both feel the same anger at corruption, at promises broken, and at opportunities lost and wasted. We share the passionate belief that New Brunswick can be a better, richer, and fairer place for all of us. Acadiens, First Nations, Braillons, English, new immigrants from every corner of the world. From the first day, my leadership will be informed and shaped by the voices and values of people who have shared this land for 500 years, and by the voices and values of the people who have shaped social democracy. Gary Dewar, Roy Romanow, Tommy Douglas, men who have turned our values into laws that made life better for everyone. Je veux mener une partie qui sera clairement New Brunswick, reflétant l'approche pratique vis-à-vis les problèmes de la vie, l'importance de la famille et de notre communauté et en travaillant ensemble. Ce n'est pas une province où les grands mots vides de sang vont bien loin. L'idéologie est moins importante que les choses qui fonctionnent bien. L'NPD a été pour bien longtemps une usine d'idées nouvelles. Les bonnes idées ont toutes été reprises par les autres partis et sont devenues des lois. La santé publique, les pensions publiques, la protection de l'environnement. But this factory of ideas that the NDP has always been, it needs a refit for the 21st century. In New Democrats, we face a challenge. This is a party of the left, part of a tradition that goes back hundreds of years, of people standing up for themselves. At our best, New Democrats, we bring a history of working together and of self-reliance, an approach to life, the organized expression of the belief that nothing will change until we decide to change it. Nothing will change until we decide, and then we plan, and then we act. Independence and interdependence, harnessed together by action, by the drive to make the world a better place. And that drive comes from principles that we inherit from our ancestors. It's easy to forget that we are still in the first century of democracy, that a country where everyone can vote, where citizens have even theoretically equal voice, it's an incredible and wonderful aberration. We are so fortunate, and so often, too often, unconscious of our good fortune. Nous oublions que ce cadeau de la liberté, du droit de changer notre province, est une responsabilité qui requiert de tout dévouement et des sacrifices. The values of social democracy, they never change. The principles of equality of opportunity, of freedom, of supporting each other, these, they never change. But it is because our principles never change that we must modernize our policies and our approach to politics. The world changes, and the face of injustice takes on new forms. 100 years ago, industrial pollution was a sign of wealth and jobs. New prosperity, unheard of before in history for regular working men and women. Today, industrial pollution is an environmental hazard. It has to be regulated and reduced for the health of our children. 50 years ago, subsidizing businesses was a sign of wealth, a sign of our country, our province being prosperous. It was a way to spend public money to help keep jobs in New Brunswick. Today we know that approach doesn't work, and that it's simply a way to siphon our money, tax dollars, out of New Brunswick. As New Democrats, we have to learn from our mistakes if we are going to grow as a party. We have to stop asking, what's wrong with people? Why don't they vote for us? Why do they keep swapping back and forth, Tory to Liberal, Liberal to Tory, back and forth? Instead, we have got to ask ourselves the hard question, what has been wrong with us as a party that people have rejected us time after time, especially considering the weakness of our opponents? The NDP has to stop being the comfortable conscience of this province. We have to tear up the script that has this party acting the part of court jester, sometimes whispering uncomfortable truths in the ear of power, but content to be irritated, content sometimes, too often, to be self-righteous, and content to be powerless. If we are what we say, a party of the people, then we must stop being comfortable. This party's roots in the social gospel teaches us that we must not just bear witness to exclusion and to poverty, but that we must stand up to it. That we must develop plans to address the problems we see before us, and then fix them. No policy will be perfect, but we must try. And we must accept that some policies don't work, and then have the humility to accept this, to be creative, and then to move on. Change does not come from good men and women sitting around a kitchen table talking about illiteracy, the sale of NB power, or the province's financial crisis. Change starts there, absolutely. But those conversations have to be joined together with other conversations, and ideas